Hello and welcome. This is another episode of The Road Less Taken, the web series from Nexus Consulting, where we are in conversation with people who've made unique career choices and excelled at them. This is a sports mini-series, and today we are going to be in conversation with someone who's done amazing stuff all through her career, both as a junior athlete, then as a senior athlete, and then gone on to represent India at the masters level as well. My name is Venky Srinivasan, your host, and today I will be in conversation with Arjuna awardee and star athlete Reeth Abraham. Hi Reeth, welcome to The Road Less Taken. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, pleasure for me to be on your show.
Great, you've been a champion. You've been a flag bearer of Indian sport for so many years, and I definitely count myself as one of your several thousands of admirers whom I'm sure you've talked to and interacted over the years. And this is a great chance to listen to your story. So let me begin by asking you, where did you grow up and where did this love and passion for sport and in specific athletics come about?
I was born and brought up in Mysore, though basically from Coorg, born and brought up in Mysore. And I was studying in a school called Christ the King Convent. It was a co-ed school till 7th standard, and after that it was a girls' school. And luckily for me and my sisters, we are 5 siblings, all girls.
Okay.
And those days I always, when I go to schools and colleges, I say I'm really lucky to have been born in the 60s. Because those days we didn't have phones, internet, computers,
Right.
And the extracurricular activity was only sports, outdoors. Though we went cycling and we went to the library, picked up books, and over the weekend did a lot of reading and all that. But sports was one thing that all of us did, whether we liked it or not. Even in a lunch break, we would have a lunch fast. And it was 40 minutes lunch break, finish a lunch in 10 minutes, and the next 40 minutes, we would play, hopping and catching and, all those kind of things. So obviously that I was really lucky to have been born there. And our school was one of the best in sports.
Okay.
And my sisters were already into sports, and we had no issues, during school hours and after school hours to play a game and things like that. And so that was kind of inculcated to us that sports is one good thing that whether you like it or not, you do it. And people like me and my sisters who had some kind of talent in us pursued it and, made it part of our lifestyle, and, it became a profession. And my dad was Mr. Mysore in the 1940s, and he did a little bit of boxing and hockey and all that. Yeah,
Okay.
Yes. And mom says in her school level also she did some kind of sport.
So it did run in the blood then. Great.
Yes, I would say it runs in the blood, because they always say that, you may train every day, dedicate yourself. But if there is little bit of those genes in you, it will help you perform better. So probably that was there in me for me to excel in sports.
And so obviously they were very supportive, I'm sure, as you kind of went ahead to try and pursue a career in this. At what point of time did you decide to take the call that you were not going to go down a kind of mainstream sort of working career, but you were going to go into a sport life?
Those days, Venky, it was really odd or strange, or nobody thought that we could take it up as a profession.
Right.
And also we did it just out of pure love for the sport and passion. And initially when I started, it was with Kho. We played that. Yeah, played that game, and our school was the best, and we would play that game almost every day. And especially during season, we would, go there in the morning and clean the Kho field and, put that rangoli and, all those kind of things. And I did Kho and did track and field when I reached high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that, in one of the school meets that I did 100 meters or hurdles or long jump, one of those events, and I beat the girls who were senior.
Okay.
And, senior to me in school. And at that point of time, the coach who was there in Mysore, one of the local coaches, and also my PE teacher. I think I must give full credit to the PE teacher, because she was so dedicated at that point of time. We would walk from school, we would miss the last hour of class, and she would take us for training to the ground in Mysore. And we would go walking, which is about 3.5, 4 kilometers, walking together to the track, finish our training, and come back.
Wow.
And he told me that, it was in 75, 76 that you are good, you should, do your training every day and things like that. But those days we never knew what it was to represent the country, and, nobody would tell us anything. It was on our own that we had to decide what's good for us. So in college, I started playing Kho-Kho, then it was track and field, and basketball.
Oh, right.
And it carried on till, college, till second PUC, and then first degree. But at one point of time, I had to decide which is the sport that I had to take up seriously.
Right.
And then Kho-Kho slowly finished after I did with my first PUC. I didn't want to play Kho-Kho anymore, though I represented the state. And I didn't do the university, but basketball, I did represent the university. And that was after first degree. I said no more of basketball, because I couldn't, devote time for both the sports.
Right.
And then there was one coach, Hebbar, who was in the Mysore University, and he said you should start preparing for the 82 Asian Games, which is coming up in Delhi. I was just a junior then. I didn't know what it was. And where do you read up? I mean, we didn't have internet, nothing.
Nothing, right?
And so he told me, you can represent the country if you train hard every morning and evening. And we just pictured what it would be, to represent the country, but we didn't know what it was. But just did it out of pure passion. And then, started regular training and things like that. But in 1979, I was the first time after the inter-university meet where I excelled in pentathlon and hurdles and long jump. I was called for the national camp.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And that's when we knew what it was to do regular kind of training, morning and evening with training schedules and weights and all those kind of things, which would never happen in a place like Mysore.
Of course. And so tell us about that whole journey of your whole international career representing India in so many different, championships, so many different international events. What are the most memorable points in that whole journey?
Yeah, but before that, Venky, I have to make a mention of during the 1980s, girls or women were not really coming out to do sports.
Right.
Okay. And till I was in Mysore or even coming up to Bangalore, it was not a big issue for me to get permission from my parents. But once we had to leave the state, go for our nationals or go to Patiala, and those days, we never had, the luxury of traveling by air. It was second class. Remember, second class train. I had to come from Mysore to Bangalore. Then from Bangalore, you take a train, go to Delhi, and then again change, to a bus from there and go to Patiala.
Wow.
And it was really, really tough. And it was tough. And those days, it was very difficult for us. It was scary, in fact, for us to travel such long distances. I mean, thinking about it now, I really don't know how we did it. Right. Because those days, probably, even our parents didn't know how dangerous it was.
Yeah.
And, they just trusted us that we would be safe and, things around us would be safe. And, just let us go. But it was really tough. And during the 1980s, slowly the women started coming out and, people realized that if we trained hard and we were permitted, by our parents to come out and excel, we could do well. And in 1982, during the Asian Games, all of us proved because we women did much better than the men, and we proved that we can do it.
Right.
We can do it. Though it was very, very challenging, we showed to the to our youngsters or the women who wanted to do something different, that we could do it. So that was challenging, and in a way, it was nice that we opened the doors for many women to excel in sports.
Right.
So 82 Asian Games was my first international exposure, and I must say it was a fabulous experience. I know, to see that extravaganza of the Asian Games, and so many athletes, from different parts of Asia coming and excelling, and and to just watch them, because for us it was all raw. We were still juniors, but to see the senior athletes compete was really fabulous. I stood fifth in heptathlon, and then the next Asian Games, 1986, I got fourth in heptathlon, just missed narrowly. Yes. Yeah. So after that, there was no looking back for us. We slowly, from juniors, we were promoted to seniors. And mind you, those days, 16, below 16 was juniors. Once you crossed 16, you were a senior athlete.
Wow.
In the sense, there was no juniors. In a way, I think it was good, because I remember my first senior championships, when I was 16 plus, I got third place in heptathlon. And, when you are 16 plus and you are competing with women who are 20, 21, 22, and you have won a medal in the nationals, you are noticed. You know that, she has some talent, and if she is her energy and, her talent is channelized in the proper manner, then, she can do well for herself and bring glory to the country. So, but now if you see, under 14, it starts from under 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. They have the youth championships, which is under 22. But even at that stage, the children don't want to, say, okay, I'm a senior now and it's time for me to, go and compete at the senior level and do better, compete with the seniors.
Yeah.
They still fudge their ages and they still want to be under 22. I tell most of the junior athletes, it doesn't matter what you do in your juniors. Yeah. Maybe you'll get, some support from the government, or there's a sponsor which will come, but it only shows the world and people will talk about you when you start winning in the senior level and start winning medals for the country. So I always tell them, even if you're 16, doesn't matter, go and compete in the senior level. Yeah, it's always good. I think mentally we were all very tough, saying that it doesn't matter if you lose, you just go and to give your best, and that's what it actually matters.
Nice.
And these days the kids, they train very hard, but when it comes to competition, they're always a little scared and tensed, and negative thoughts, which really doesn't help them in, to do well when it comes to competition.
And I'm presuming those days there wasn't, I'm not even sure whether even these days there's too much money to be made, but those days as a professional athlete, there wasn't any money, right?
No money at all. Nothing at all. If you ask most of us during that period, we've not made any money.
Right.
Nothing at all. And even to find a sponsor, there were no sponsors. And now I tell the kids, they are so lucky that if you really do well and you can prove that you are the best in the country, there are lot of sponsors and corporates will come forward to help you. Those days we were on the top, but nothing happened. Even, we didn't even think of going overseas, training there for 3-4 months and coming back in initial stages. And even the sports gear that we were wearing, there was nothing. Like now you talk about all the top sport companies, they're all here. Nike, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, everybody's here. Those days we didn't have anything, nothing at all. And I tell people that, we started wearing Bata shoes and, running. And I was one of the few lucky ones who got a pair of spikes when one of my cousins was coming from Dubai, from Gulf, not even from the US, from the Gulf. And, brought a pair of tracksuit and spikes. And, we were lucky that way. It's amazing. They have everything here. There's nothing to complain. If you keep complaining, then there's no end to it, right? So I always say that make the best of what you have.
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't compare yourself with anybody else or the athletes overseas. They have this, but we don't have it. If you get a chance, you go overseas and train and come back and prove yourself. Otherwise, make the best of what you have is what I would say.
And like in professional sports, more so in like in a track and field kind of event, most athletes hit a peak and then they kind of hang up their boots, and by the late 20s or the early 30s, they're pretty much done, and the career in the sport is over for them, and then they pursue other things that they can do, potentially coaching or whatever it is. But you have been an amazing champion who's continued on this path, right? So you've transitioned from the seniors to the masters, represented India there at the global level. So tell us about this drive, this energy, this current regimen that you still follow that makes you excel even today.
For me, sports and keeping fit has been part of my lifestyle from the age of 12. And for me, it is like as soon as you wake up, you brush your teeth, have your coffee. For me, it is go for a run, exercise, go to the gym. So when you have been at it and it makes you feel good, you make it part of your system. Right. So it has been that. So when I quit my athletic career in 92, I was in the top national champion in heptathlon from 82. I have 82 Asian Games till 88, till my daughter was born. I was the national champion in heptathlon. So in 87, I missed my qualifying standard for the 87 Asian Track and Field Championships by very small margin. Right. And then even though I was the top in the country and could win a medal at the Asian level, they had very strict qualifying standards, and the Athletic Federation of India said, no, we cannot send you, and things like that. So I was very depressed and dejected, then came back home and, got pregnant. In 88, my daughter was born. And at that point of time, there are a lot of emotions going on in your mind. I was telling myself, you are capable of achieving much more. You haven't reached your peak. But for me to get back after pregnancy, I don't know how easy it was or how difficult it was, because other than the books overseas where some of the athletes have done it, for us as Indians, it was still a myth that saying that after pregnancy and after having a baby, you can still come back to competitive sports and, compete and train. And there was just one person who had done that, but those days, to get her number or call her and speak to her was impossible. Yeah. And I just went up to my doctor when I used to go for my consultation, and I told her, Doc, I would like to get back to sport as soon as possible. So what should I do? So she was really a great help to me, Dr. Mari Muthana, and she said, Reeth, don't, overdo anything. Do whatever you are comfortable. So I was jogging and doing a lot of stretching even 10 days before my daughter was born. And my recovery after pregnancy was damn good, because I think my fitness levels were, still okay. And 30 days, after 30 days of my child being born, that is 1 month, got back to training.
Wow.
So that was a fabulous feeling for me to get back to training after 30 days. And when she was 10 months old, I went back for my national championships and won the gold in long jump and hurdles.
Fantastic.
So for me, it was a very good feeling, saying that not only I have proved to myself that if you set your mind to doing something and give 100% to what you want to do in life, you can achieve it. Okay, and
You
a little bit of
inspired a generation of women because
yes,
amazing.
yeah. So I set a kind of a benchmark for people to say that, okay, this is what you can do. If you, even if you're pregnant and after childbirth, and physically you get very strong with after childbirth, and multitasking, and when you want to do something, you will go all out. So I had a baby, I had to do training, I had to go to work. So there were a lot of things happening in my life, but I wanted to do sports at any cost.
Right.
So I did it, and I proved that you can do it.
Right.
So that was one thing I'm very, very happy about, that that I did, and I set a stone for people to compare themselves, saying that, okay, can I do it? And after that, there were lots of them who would call me and say, can I do this? Can I do that? Is it okay? And and also breaking a national record after she was born in long jump. That was a good feeling.
Amazing. And more recently, I think you've been involved with some very interesting initiatives, especially I know related to marathons and so on. So talk us about what you're seeing these days around you in terms of the culture related to sports, specifically running, and some of the initiatives that you've been currently involved with.
Yeah, so for me, it was like, when I used to go for my run in the morning, this is late 80s or early 90s, living in Koramangala, it was a nice place to run. But when I would go for my run in the morning, I would see nobody. And, I would say, my God, this is really strange that, people don't get up and exercise. And what did they do? And gyms were not, mushroomed all over like it is now. And there were very few gyms where you could go and work out. But people would never come even for their walks or runs or whatever it is. And I was with Corporation Bank for a very long time. So I didn't really enjoy working in a bank with 10 to 5 job, and when I was competing, they would give me special leave and thing. But once I stopped, I had to work full time, and it was hectic. But for me to quit my job and to get something which I really like doing in sport was very difficult, because there were not so many opportunities then. And because I needed the money, I couldn't just quit my job and just sit at home and do nothing. But I did quit the bank after 26 years in 2012, and I took up to a little bit of coaching, and I was with the Nike Run Club as one of their coaches. And that was almost it started in 2012 or 2013, the Nike Run Club. And that's when Coach Vidu and I were doing it together. Basically, we were telling them, showing them how to run, stretch, and a little bit of breathing. And if you look at 8 or 10 years back, people didn't know anything about running. They thought running was only for professional athletes who want to compete. They didn't know they could run to just keep fit. And I remember when we started this, people who came for the training camps, even with they couldn't even run 1 kilometer. They couldn't even run 1 kilometer. And now, if you look at it, they can they've graduated to running marathons, not just one. They go all over and run marathons, and and they have started their own groups in different parts of the city, and they are training others who can do well. So it has been fulfilling. So after I quit the bank, I joined this sports management group called NED Sports, which we organize marathons not only in the city of Bangalore, but all over the country. And we can see from the time we started 7 years ago to now, how from having just couple of thousands, we graduated to having 15,000 and 16,000 people running a 10K and a half and a full marathon. So people have really got conscious about this, and they are really opening the eyes of people. And initially people would think, okay, if I'm fat, people will look at me and I cannot go out. It's, but they didn't realize that only if they start doing something, they will lose weight. But now if you see, people have no qualms about, okay, if I have to do something, I'll come out and do it. They've opened their eyes to saying that health is really, really important. Yeah. And that is a fabulous thing. And now when I go out, the roads are full of, people walking, cycling, running, and, people have gone overboard also because it gives them a high. Yeah. When you exercise in the morning, the high that it gives you, takes you throughout the day, and
plus it gives you material to put on Instagram as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah.
And one very last question: what do you tell both youngsters and their parents today who are contemplating making a career in sport or contemplating taking up sport at a serious level? What kind of advice would you give them?
For parents, yes, definitely they play a very, very important role now if the child has to do well. Because if a child has to take up sports seriously, he or she will start at the age of 10, 11, 12. And in our times, if you wanted to do that, our parents said, okay, take a cycle and go to the track. And now that's not possible.
Yeah.
And though our parents said you can do it, they were not so involved in us that if you wanted to excel in sport. But now, if a child has to do any extracurricular activity, now that we're talking about sport, I think one parent has to dedicate himself or herself to the child. Right. Especially to drop him, picking up. And then I know some of the children, go either to the stadium or wherever, their sporting arena to train. And in the morning, they're there by 5:30. They finish their training. Then they change and have breakfast there and then go to school.
Yeah.
Then again, in the evening from school, they come, for their training again. If that has to happen, a parent has to dedicate herself or himself. So it is really, really tough. And if a child in this current situation is doing well, I think you have to give credit to the parents completely. Till a certain stage, from the age of 12 till about 16, 17, 18, I think it's the parents' responsibility. After that, they go into, a coaching center, they are residents there, and, or one national camp, and they're training on their own. But the years when they are really building themselves, from being a junior to proving themselves are the most important days, and the parents have to dedicate themselves. And most of the parents push their children a little too much. And I have seen over the years that we Indians, we take a little longer to mature. So if you compare a 12-year-old child overseas, an European or an American or a German for that matter, you see they are much bigger made, and mentally they are more, more much mature than our kids. Our kids, I don't know if it's our background, because we mollycoddle our kids till a certain age, and we don't want to give them so much of independence that they can go and do their own stuff. So even physically, we take a long time to mature. So if you start at 12, I would say the best performance would come only when you are from your 20s till about early 20s to 28, 26, 27. So there is a long training period. If you start at 12, you will see results coming in only when you're 18 and 19. Right. And then you can maintain that performance for another 5-6 years. So that is a long wait for any child or a parent to say that, okay, I want to do it. So first, it's the child who has to show that interest. and then the parent who has to support that child. It can't be that the parent wants the child to do well in sports and you push the child. They say you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So there are so many parents who push their children to it. So it has to be both sides, that the child has to be. So I tell the parents, initial stages, don't push your child. It has to come from within. The child has to enjoy whatever is doing. And if you look at the children these days, they want results overnight,
right,
which is not possible. We have trained. I've been there from 75, 76, and when I quit, it was in 1992. So that 15, 16 years of career, you will see some kind of growth.
Right.
Okay, but you can't see results in 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So there are no shortcuts to doing well in life and achieving results or winning medals. You have to work hard. The perseverance, the dedication, the hard work. These are the only things that can happen for you to show good results. And nothing can happen overnight. You take performance enhancing drugs and you want to do well, finish, your career is over in 3-4 years. So it is very, very important, and it's not easy. A life of a sportsman, sports person is not easy at all. First, you have to have the passion, your love, and then the dedication, the discipline, the hard work, and the focus and positive attitude. These are the most important things for the athletes to do that.
Great, fantastic thoughts and fascinating conversation with you, Reeth. I know we can go on and on, but
I know
this was very, very inspiring, and it was very, very illuminating in terms of what really happens and what's needed to succeed at the highest level. Thank you so very much, and more power to you, and all the best for continued success for all your initiatives.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you. I hope this video, when posted, inspires somebody, and especially the kids. They think life is easy, and you have to dedicate yourself. Whatever it is, just not a sports person. Whatever you want to achieve in life, you have to have that dedication and discipline, which is most important. I hope it inspires at least a couple of hundreds of children, and that'd be a good feeling for us and for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that, folks, concludes our mini sports sub-series as part of season 3 of The Road Less Taken, where we've been in conversation with fascinating personalities who've made really unconventional career choices and excelled at them. I hope you've enjoyed our series. We'd like your feedback. Please write into us on any of our social media handles on Nexus Consulting. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as, of course, our YouTube channel, where you can leave comments. We have 29 episodes of The Road Less Taken, all of which are available in full as well as in snippets on our YouTube channel, where you can also find loads of quizzes. We will be coming back to you with an exciting new edition of The Road Less Taken. Season 4 will come very soon. We have some really cool things planned, and we look forward to coming back and talking to all of you once again. In the meanwhile, please take good care of yourselves, stay safe, and till we see you again, this is Venky and Nexus Consulting saying bye-bye.